Have you ever noticed how the harder you try to grasp something, the more it slips right through your fingers? That intense yearning, the relentless chase for success, love, respect, or any prize, it often feels like the very thing holding you back. It's paradoxical but true. You'll get it the moment you stop wanting it. This is not a call to surrender your ambitions or dreams, but a profound understanding of how desire itself can be a trap. When your mind is consumed by craving, it clouds your judgment, disrupts your calm, and forces you into reactive desperation. The energy you pour into chasing something frantically creates a resistance like water pushed against a dam. The harder you push, the stronger the dam holds. Desire, in its raw and unchecked form, is a double-edged sword. It propels you forward, but it can also blind you. When your focus becomes fixated on the outcome rather than the process, you invite anxiety and impatience. These emotions twist your perception, causing you to act hastily, make mistakes, or overlook the subtle signals around you. You become so desperate that your very body language, your words, your energy betray your hunger, and this desperation repels what you seek. Like a magnet with the wrong polarity, you push away the very thing you want. The secret lies in detachment, not indifference, but a strategic release of obsessive need. Detachment is not about giving up. It's about creating a space of calm within yourself. When you stop clutching, when you loosen your grip, you allow the natural flow of events to come to you. This calm, this presence is powerful. It sharpens your perception, heightens your intuition, and steadies your will. In this state, you don't just wait passively. You act with precision, confidence, and patience. You position yourself not as a desperate beggar, but as a masterful player in the game. Mastery over your inner world becomes the real source of power. It's easy to be overwhelmed by circumstances, to think the outside world controls your fate, but the moment you understand that true control begins inside, you shift from being a victim of your desires to the architect of your reality. When you relinquish the compulsive craving, you gain freedom. Freedom to observe without attachment, freedom to maneuver without fear, freedom to attract without force. People notice this difference. Your calm confidence becomes magnetic. Doors open, alliances form, and what once seemed impossible now feels inevitable. This is the essence of influence and mastery, not bending the world to your will through brute force, but through the quiet, unshakable strength of detachment. When you are no longer hostage to want, you become unpredictable. You no longer play the game out of need but from a place of power. This shift changes the dynamic of every interaction, every negotiation, every opportunity. Suddenly, you are the one who sets the terms, not the one pleading for acceptance or success. The paradox is clear. The moment you release the grip on what you desperately want, the thing you desire rushes towards you, almost as if drawn by an invisible force. This is not luck or coincidence, it is the natural order of power and influence. Those who cling too tightly only push away what they seek, while those who let go, paradoxically, hold the greatest power. The key is not to extinguish desire but to master it, to become the calm eye in the storm of wants and impulses. Understanding this principle rewires how you approach ambition and relationships. You begin to see that obsession is weakness and detachment is strength. This doesn't mean you abandon your goals or lose passion. Instead, it means you cultivate an inner landscape so strong and serene that no craving can destabilize you. You operate from a place of abundance, knowing that your value is inherent and not dependent on external validation. This mindset transforms every pursuit from a frantic chase into a deliberate, confident stride. This inner mastery also extends to how you interact with others. When you stop appearing needy or desperate, you become more attractive, more respected. People instinctively respond to those who demonstrate calm authority rather than frantic urgency. They want to be around strength, not weakness, confidence, not desperation. The influence you gain from this shift is subtle but profound. It places you in a position of power without the need for aggressive tactics or manipulations. Moreover, this approach sharpens your strategic thinking. When your mind is not clouded by obsessive desire, you see the larger picture. You recognize patterns, anticipate moves, and choose your actions with foresight and patience. Success, then, is not a frantic rush but a measured, inevitable outcome of deliberate choices made from a place of calm strength. In life, what often separates the achievers from the dreamers is not just talent or luck, but the ability to master their desires, to want without needing, to aim without desperation, to pursue without losing control. When you embody this principle, you move beyond mere wishing or hoping. You become a force that naturally attracts success because you are no longer defined by what you lack, but by what you command within yourself. You learn that wanting something desperately is like reaching into a whirlpool, stirring the waters until clarity disappears. But when you step back, when you stop stirring and simply observe, the waters settle, and the path to your goal emerges clearly. This is the profound wisdom hidden in the paradox. The understanding deepens. The art of influence and control is less about overt actions and more about the state of your being. The mind trapped in craving is limited. It sees only scarcity, competition, and threat. But the mind freed by detachment expands its vision to opportunity, abundance, and timing. This is why those who learn to govern their desires, who practice patience and strategic non-attachment, often find themselves in positions of unexpected advantage. This mastery also requires brutal honesty with yourself. You must recognize the moments when desire clouds your judgment or pushes you to act rashly. You must be willing to step back, reassess, and sometimes delay gratification in favor of long-term gain. This is not weakness but strength, the strength to resist immediate impulses for a greater prize. In practical terms, this means cultivating habits that reinforce calm and clarity, mindfulness, disciplined reflection, and deliberate action. It means surrounding yourself with environments and people who support your inner stability rather than feed your anxieties. It means knowing that control over yourself is the foundation for control over circumstances. Ultimately, the lesson is clear. Power and success are not gifts handed to the desperate, but rewards earned by the patient, the calm, the strategically detached. When you stop chasing, the world begins to chase you. When you stop pleading, the doors open on their own. When you master your wants, you master your destiny. And so, the path forward is not more frantic effort, but wiser restraint. It is a journey inward to a place where desire no longer controls you, but serves you, a place where you stand firm, unshaken, knowing that what is meant for you will come, exactly when you are ready to receive it. This is the power of letting go. The moment you stop wanting is the moment you truly begin to have. The paradox of desire is that the more you chase something, the more it eludes your grasp. This is not merely a poetic notion, but a psychological reality rooted deeply in human nature and how our minds respond to wanting. When you fixate intensely on a goal or object of desire, your entire being becomes consumed by it. This fixation generates a kind of internal tension, a restlessness that disturbs your clarity and equilibrium. Instead of approaching your objective with calm confidence and strategic patience, you are caught in a spiral of anxiety and urgency, which distorts your perception. The desperation that accompanies intense desire is like a force pushing against the very thing you seek, creating resistance rather than attraction. This resistance arises because desire, when unchecked, disrupts natural flow. Imagine trying to hold water tightly in your hands. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips away. In the same way, an intense craving produces a counterforce. The mind becomes clouded, and your actions lose their precision. Rather than moving fluidly toward your goal, you stumble, make mistakes, and become blind to subtle opportunities. Your desperation can be sensed by others, consciously or unconsciously, and it affects how they respond to you. People tend to recoil from neediness and urgency, preferring to engage with those who display self-possession and calm. Moreover, desire in its raw form narrows your focus so sharply on the outcome that you lose sight of the present moment and the necessary steps required to get there. When you are obsessed with the destination, you often overlook the journey, the incremental progress, and the adjustments that need to be made along the way. This tunnel vision limits your ability to adapt, making you rigid and reactive. The pressure of wanting something so badly causes you to force outcomes rather than allowing them to unfold organically, which ironically prolongs the process and creates more obstacles. The human mind is wired in such a way that craving triggers stress responses. When you want something desperately, your body releases hormones like cortisol, heightening anxiety and tension. This physiological response further interferes with clear thinking and effective action. Your heightened state of stress may cause impulsive decisions, clouded judgment, and even burnout. It becomes a vicious cycle. The more you want, the more stressed and reactive you become, and the more you sabotage your chances of success. On a deeper level, intense desire can signal insecurity or a lack of self-worth. When you believe that your happiness or identity depends solely on obtaining something external, you place all your power outside yourself. This externalization of value creates a dependency that weakens your inner strength. Instead of being grounded and self-assured, you become fragile enough that the absence of what you want feels like a threat to your very existence. This vulnerability is palpable and can push away the very thing you seek, because true attraction and influence arise from confidence and stability, not neediness. The dynamics of human interaction also come into play here. Whether it's in relationships, business, or social settings, desperation is often sensed and exploited by others. When you appear overly eager or hungry for approval, respect, or success, you lose leverage. People instinctively recognize the imbalance of power and tend to withhold what you desire or manipulate you to their advantage. In contrast, those who hold their desires with detachment exude an aura of control and unpredictability, which commands respect and draws others in. The intensity of your wanting sends out signals that shape the responses and opportunities you attract. This is why so many people find that the moment they stop obsessing over a goal, the goal seems to come effortlessly toward them. By releasing the grip of desperate desire, you reduce the resistance you create. You stop pushing against the current and begin flowing with it. This shift in energy is subtle but profound. Instead of struggling, you become receptive. Instead of forcing, you allow. This receptive state opens your senses to new possibilities that were invisible in the haze of craving. The tension that clouded your mind lifts, and your intuition sharpens. You begin to see options, timing, and connections that were previously hidden. In addition, when you let go of compulsive wanting, you conserve your energy and focus. Desperation tends to scatter your resources, emotional, mental, and physical, on frantic efforts and reactive behaviors. Detachment brings clarity and reserves strength for deliberate action. You become more selective with your moves, more patient with the process, and more resilient in the face of setbacks. This calm and controlled approach positions you to seize opportunities at the right moment, rather than rushing prematurely or burning out. It's also important to recognize that desire is not inherently bad or to be suppressed. Desire is the spark of ambition, the fuel for achievement, but desire without balance becomes self-defeating. The key is learning how to manage and contain desire, to hold it lightly rather than clutching it desperately. This mastery transforms desire from a source of anxiety into a source of motivation and clarity. Instead of being a tyrant that controls you, desire becomes a tool you wield with precision and wisdom. Understanding this dynamic is a vital step toward personal power and effectiveness. It means accepting that some things cannot be forced or rushed. It means trusting that your goals will come to you in their proper time if you maintain your inner composure and act with strategic patience. The moment you stop wanting in a desperate, grasping way, you align yourself with the natural laws of influence and attraction. You move from resistance to flow, from chaos to control, and from desperation to mastery. Detachment is often misunderstood as indifference or apathy, but in reality, it is a profound form of engagement that demands strength and wisdom. It is the art of releasing the desperate clutch on what we crave, not to abandon our goals, but to create an inner environment where clarity, calm, and strategic action can thrive. When you detach from obsessive need, you free yourself from the emotional turbulence that clouds judgment and hinders progress. This space of calm within becomes fertile ground for natural flow and for opportunities to reveal themselves without force or desperation. At its core, detachment is about shifting your focus from the outcome to the present moment, and from frantic wanting to deliberate action. When you stop desperately holding on, you allow yourself to observe your situation without distortion. This observation brings insight. You can see things as they truly are, rather than through the haze of anxiety and impatience. This clarity is invaluable because it enables you to recognize subtle patterns and hidden opportunities that frantic desire would have blinded you to. In this state, your decisions become more precise and your efforts more effective. Detachment does not mean inactivity. On the contrary, it allows for deliberate and confident action. When your mind is no longer consumed by desperate wanting, you conserve your energy and direct it with intention. You act not from urgency, but from a position of calm strength. This calmness is magnetic. It attracts cooperation, trust, and respect from others. People are naturally drawn to those who embody control over their emotions, and who are not at the mercy of their cravings. This magnetic presence opens doors that frantic pleading or desperation closes. The psychological benefit of detachment also lies in reducing emotional vulnerability. When you are tightly bound to a desired outcome, you make yourself emotionally hostage to external circumstances. Your happiness, self-worth, and sense of security become dependent on something outside of you, which is inherently unstable. Detachment flips this dynamic. It places the source of your strength inside, in your ability to maintain equanimity regardless of external fluctuations. This inner stability grants you resilience. You no longer collapse in the face of setbacks or delays but remain composed, adapting and adjusting with grace. Strategically, detachment sharpens your timing. In every pursuit, timing matters. Acting too early or too late can squander opportunities. Desperation blinds you to timing because it presses you to act immediately, regardless of whether conditions are ripe. When you detach, you cultivate patience, the ability to wait for the right moment. This patience is not passive waiting but active readiness, preparing, observing, and positioning yourself until the circumstances align in your favor. This readiness paired with calm patience dramatically increases your chances of success. Detachment also enhances your problem-solving capacity. When your mind is free from the noise of urgent desire, you can think more creatively and strategically. You gain perspective, enabling you to weigh options, foresee consequences, and craft plans that serve long-term success rather than short-term relief. This broader vision allows you to navigate complexities with greater skill, turning potential obstacles into stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. On a social level, detachment influences your relationships and negotiations. When you detach from the desperate need for approval or acceptance, you project confidence and self-respect. This changes the power dynamic. Instead of appearing needy, you appear sovereign. People respect and are more willing to collaborate with those who value themselves independently of external validation. Detachment allows you to engage without compromising your boundaries or dignity. You can say no without fear and assert your needs without aggression. Detachment creates space for authenticity. When you are not driven by craving, you can align your actions more closely with your true values and goals. You stop acting out of fear or scarcity and start acting from a place of purpose and integrity. This authenticity resonates deeply with others and attracts genuine opportunities and alliances. People sense when you are operating from a place of grounded strength versus desperate grasping, and they respond accordingly. The power of detachment also lies in its paradoxical nature. By letting go of desperate wanting, you actually increase your influence over outcomes. This is because you no longer interfere with the natural flow of events through frantic pushing. You become like the calm center of a storm, unmoved by chaos around you. This steadiness draws the chaos toward you rather than pushing it away. In practical terms, this means that by detaching, You are not retreating or giving up. You are positioning yourself to receive what you desire more effectively. Cultivating detachment is a practice that requires discipline and self-awareness. It demands that you recognize when your emotions are hijacking your rational mind and that you consciously choose to step back. Mindfulness techniques, reflection, and deliberate breathing can help create this internal space. Over time, this practice rewires your responses so that detachment becomes your default state when faced with desire or pressure. Detachment is a strategic mastery of self, transforming the restless energy of want into a focused, calm force that works with, rather than against, reality. It empowers you to engage fully with life's challenges without becoming consumed by them. This inner freedom enhances not only your effectiveness but your well-being, as you learn to find contentment in the journey itself rather than being tethered solely to the destination. Through detachment, you access a profound source of power, the ability to want without needing, to strive without desperation, and to influence without force. This state of balanced engagement is the key to turning desire from a barrier into a bridge, opening pathways that were previously blocked by the very intensity of your wanting. It is here, in the calm between craving and fulfillment, that true success begins to unfold naturally. True power does not come from external achievements or possessions, but from mastery over one's inner world. When you understand that control begins within, you shift from being a reactive participant in life to becoming its deliberate architect. This internal mastery is the foundation upon which real influence and success are built. The moment you stop being controlled by your cravings, impulses, and emotional turmoil, you reclaim the steering wheel of your existence. You transform from a person at the mercy of circumstances into a force that shapes circumstances to your advantage. Mastering your inner state requires profound self-awareness and discipline. It means recognizing the triggers that provoke desperation or craving and learning to manage those emotional responses rather than being overwhelmed by them. This mastery is not about suppressing feelings or denying desire, but about observing them without becoming enslaved. By cultivating this detached awareness, you create a space between stimulus and reaction, allowing you to choose your response consciously. This space is your power zone, where rationality and strategic thinking can override impulsive behavior. When you gain control over your inner landscape, your presence changes dramatically. You no longer radiate the anxious energy of neediness, but instead, you emit calm confidence. This shift affects how others perceive and interact with you. People are naturally drawn to those who display emotional stability and self-possession, because such individuals inspire trust and respect. Your influence increases not by force but by the magnetic pull of your inner strength. This is a subtle yet formidable form of power that often determines the outcome of negotiations, relationships, and leadership. Inner mastery also gives you resilience in the face of setbacks and failures. When your sense of self is not tied to external validation or fleeting success, you withstand challenges without losing composure. You understand that temporary defeat does not define you, and this perspective prevents despair or rash reactions. Instead, you learn to view obstacles as opportunities for growth and strategic recalibration. This resilience is a hallmark of those who achieve lasting success, because it allows them to persevere and adapt without being destabilized by emotional upheaval. Control over your inner state enhances your ability to influence your environment. When you operate from a calm, centered position, your actions become deliberate and measured. You are less likely to be manipulated by others or to fall into reactive patterns that diminish your power. Instead, you set the tone in your interactions and create conditions favorable to your goals. This control extends beyond personal relationships to professional and social spheres, where the ability to maintain composure under pressure distinguishes leaders and high achievers from the rest. The mastery of inner control also transforms your relationship with desire itself. Rather than being a slave to cravings, you become their master. You learn to want without needing, to aspire without desperation. This balanced desire fuels motivation and ambition without the pitfalls of anxiety or impatience. In this state, you can pursue your objectives with clarity and calm, making decisions that align with long-term success rather than short-term relief. This form of desire is sustainable and empowering, unlike frantic craving, which is exhausting and self-defeating. Inner mastery cultivates a profound sense of freedom when you are not controlled by external circumstances or internal compulsions. You operate from a place of autonomy. Your choices are not dictated by fear, scarcity, or social pressure, but arise from your own values and wisdom. This freedom enables you to navigate life with confidence, knowing that your worth and power are inherent and not contingent on external approval or possessions. It is this freedom that makes you truly unstoppable, because no external event can shake your foundation. This control over the inner state also enhances your capacity for strategic patience. Patience is not passive waiting, but an active state of readiness combined with calm restraint. When you master your desires and emotions, you can wait for the right moment to act, rather than rushing impulsively or forcing outcomes. This patience amplifies your effectiveness because timing is often as crucial as action. The ability to delay gratification and endure uncertainty without anxiety is a sign of strength that few possess but many admire. In essence, inner mastery rewires the relationship between you and the world. Instead of reacting to external forces, you influence and shape them through your composed presence and deliberate choices. This dynamic creates a powerful feedback loop. Your inner strength attracts better opportunities and alliances, which in turn reinforce your confidence and control. Over time, this loop propels you forward with a momentum rooted not in frantic effort, but in steady, strategic influence. The power of mastering your inner state lies in its universality. It transcends specific goals, circumstances, or domains of life. Whether you seek success in career, relationships, or personal growth, the ability to govern your desires and emotions is the ultimate game changer. It separates those who merely wish from those who command. When you stop craving and start mastering, you step into a realm of power where outcomes bend in your favor not because you force them, but because you have become the calm center around which everything else revolves. This inner sovereignty is the essence of true control and influence. It is the source of confidence that does not waver, the calm in the storm, and the quiet force that moves mountains. By mastering your inner state, you no longer chase what you want, you embody it.